Welcome back to the San Diego Opera Podcast. I'm Nick Ravelis, your host, and my guest today is the conductor of our upcoming production of Le Nozze di Figaro, The Marriage of Figaro, John Nelson. Welcome, Maestro.
Lovely to be here.
Good to have you here. I can't believe that this is the first time you've conducted in San Diego for San Diego Opera.
Well, for San Diego Opera, yes,
Yeah.
but I've conducted a number of times the orchestra.
With the orchestra? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but this is the first time with the opera.
Well, we're delighted to have you, and a piece that I imagine that you've conducted hundreds of times?
Oh, no.
No?
No, I don't conduct opera very much.
Really?
No, because it's just too difficult.
How so? How so?
Oh
That's
my
interesting.
goodness. I mean, there's so many elements to take into consideration. And if you don't have the right stage director, it's not a pleasant experience. If you don't have the right cast, it's not a pleasant. Now the conductor is kind of relegated to third place. First of all comes the stage director, then comes the singers, and way down the line comes the conductor. So we don't have any control. Even for this production, I had nothing to say about the singers or the director.
Yeah.
Fortunately, this turned out to be a dream.
Well, I'm glad to hear that after that preamble.
Yeah, well,
That's good.
I knew David Bennett,
Yeah.
and I knew he was a good man and chose well, so I decided to take this. But I didn't know Stephen Lawless, the director.
Oh.
I didn't even know his name, which is a shame on me because he's
Yeah, I'm surprised.
very
because,
well known.
Yeah.
Now he's the one that has done 40 productions. 40. And I've only done 3.
3.
Only 3.
Well, then, in a way, you're coming to it fresh, but
Right.
you've conducted lots of Mozart, indeed.
I've conducted all his orchestral works and choral works, and I've conducted a number of his operas. But this is only the third time, Marriage of Figaro.
So coming to it with a kind of fresh perspective, in a way, what are you learning about it this time around that perhaps is new, that you didn't experience in the other 2 times?
I'm just forever amazed at the genius of this man. And so I think that has been a new revelation for. We all know that Mozart is one of the great composers in history. But every time you come to his music, it's fresh.
Yeah.
It's new. It's so perfect. He's not like Haydn. Haydn was the other counterpart in that period. But Haydn, if you look at his scores, there are tons of mistakes. He was sloppy. Mozart was. I'm just blown away by the detail in his writing. The crescendos, the pianos, the pianissimos, the articulation, everything is there.
Yeah.
And for the singers also, which is really unusual. And I've had to work with this cast, with any cast, because everything is written into the score. All the detail is there. And singers don't look at that detail. They kind of look at it from their perspective, but not from the composers necessarily. But this cast is brilliant. It's by far the best cast I've ever heard in the piece. Much less conducted.
That's terrific to know.
Yeah, I mean they're all beautifully matched for their roles.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, it's great.
Well, it's as you say, Mozart's music is certainly beautiful, immediate, and accessible. But I've often said, in fact, I think I said it in one of my interviews with the cast members this week, it's very easy for us to listen to Mozart on a surface level. And when you're dealing particularly with text, and in opera, subtext and drama, and you start putting those things together, you realize there are other dimensions to this man's music. There's some remarkable things that happen in terms of musical characterization, for instance. Don't you think?
Yes, and the brilliance of this production is Stephen Lawless's understanding of the music. It is so musically motivated.
Mm.
And all the undercurrents that you're talking about, all the detail in these characterizations he's bringing out. This is by far the most detailed telling of the story that I've experienced. In any opera that I've done, this goes the deepest I've ever experienced.
Oh, that's so exciting to
And
hear.
That's
great.
Stephen Lawless's brilliance.
Well, I sat in on a little bit of rehearsal the other day. They were rehearsing the end of Act 2, and it was almost like every 10 or 12 measures there would be a stop, fix, and then start over again, and another 12 or 15 measures, and stop, and fix, and go over again. Does that get frustrating for a conductor?
No, it doesn't.
No?
It really doesn't. As long as I feel that the stage director is in tune with the music, I'll stop as many times as he wishes. I mean, he's a funny guy, and he'll say, after rehearsing this scene 10 times, he says, "This is the last time." And it's not the last time. There's still another 5 more to go. And it's fine. It's fine because, again, everything is so musically motivated. Yeah. I mean, he knows the score, by memory. He's rehearsing by memory. And, it's a great
That's
pleasure.
exciting. Now, I know from other interviews that you've done and reading that I've done up on you about your biography and the activities that you've been involved with, you have a very special place for sacred music. And I would imagine stemming from that an interest in music as a spiritual enterprise. What do you find in opera, or especially in this opera, that touches that part of what I think is an important part of our lives, of spirituality? Do you find that in this piece specifically at all?
Depends on what you mean by spirituality.
Yeah, that's a big question.
Is it Christian? Is it Jewish? And I don't think any of that is here. It's Masonic, if anything.
Mm-hmm. I guess I'm thinking more of those things, about human life that we can't touch, the ineffable, the transcendent.
Yes.
Do you experience that in a piece like this?
Oh my goodness. I mean, at the end of this piece, there's forgiveness.
Yeah.
And no matter what religion you come from, that is a huge part of it.
Mm-hmm.
How to acknowledge your own shortcomings and forgive and come to reconciliation. And this piece says it all. I mean, here we have a count that has messed around with hundreds of women, like Don Giovanni.
Mm-hmm.
But in the end, he asks for forgiveness, and his beautiful wife gives it to him, and there is a sense of the world returning to a more normal place.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's all very spiritual.
Yeah. Now, that's I think where I was hoping to go, is that wonderful moment at the end of the opera, because this is basically a sex comedy with some very serious underpinnings. But when you get to that moment, there's a reflection of spirituality in the human that we don't get in every theater experience or even every opera experience. There's really something that you can come away from.
Well, it's interesting because at the end of the piece, this reconciliation, the tempo marking in the score is andante.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody does it adagio.
Yeah.
And for me, they superimpose on it a religiosity that is not there.
Mm.
Perdono. It is done in almost all performances that you hear in recordings so slow.
Yeah.
So that it becomes a kind of a religious experience. For me, it's not. I'm keeping it andante. I'm keeping it moving it. I'm keeping it more on a human level
Mm-hmm.
than a religious level.
Yeah. No, I think that's I think that's important, that because it's also when you consider what comes before it, and you take that moment too slowly, you really have to put on the brakes.
You have to put on exactly.
And that, I think
Yes.
that works against
You got it. Yeah.
the moment, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
So, oh, good. Listen, thank you so much for coming in and for coming to San Diego. Finally, we're delighted
My
to have
pleasure.
you here, and
My great pleasure.
we're looking forward to La Noce di Figaro. Thank you.
Thank you.